Good morning. I am here to show you my Latin workbook that I've made. I've used it the last few years with my Challenge A class, and I've shared it out there on Facebook, but I have done a significant amount of tweaking and changing, and I'm really excited about this particular version. Anyway, let me get you through it. I'm going to show you a few of the pages. First of all, here is a glance at my first semester schedule that I'm having my students follow. I don't really like rushing through the first few lessons the way the guide has us do, so I have adjusted the pacing. We still get through all 15 lessons, but the pacing is slightly different. Let me explain a little bit about how this particular chart works. First of all, as the guide has us do, I am asking the students to preview the material before they get to class. I'm also going to ask them to go ahead and highlight ahead of time. I have a highlighting system that I'll share with you in a moment, but they will preview and highlight the text. You'll notice that I've got purple up here if it comes from the Purple Latin book, blue if it comes from the grammar book, green if it comes from my workbook. But anyway, so they'll read these pages, highlight them as I will explain, rule numbers that they need to review. If they are going to be writing their own flashcards, then they will do flashcards for those pages, and I'll show them how to do that. Or they can simply study the flashcards that perhaps their mom has pre-purchased for them. So all of this stuff is done in advance of coming to class on week 1. After that, after we've had our seminar discussion, then these are basically the homework assignments to get them ready for the next lesson or the next segment of the lesson. Anyway, so these are the workbook pages they could use to focus on, as well as these particular exercises. Now I will say that on the exercise column, I have actually listed all of the exercises that are available in the Latin book. I have listed many, many pages that would correlate with the information that is being covered over here. I told the parents in my parent orientation that I am putting the feast before them. This is way more than any student really would be able to complete in a week. They will pick and choose. This is, after all, their first tour through the Latin book, so don't think that you have to do all of this stuff. I am going to encourage them to try to do all of this over here. Anyway, so you can see a couple of things. I do have the titles of each of the lessons here so that you can at a glance kind of tell what's being covered. Anyway, let's look at that. Well, we'll come back to the highlighting system. So there's the second semester. As you can see, we will get through lesson 15, the perfect system active. So the first section has my noun ending charts. So I did kind of follow the color system that comes with the flashcards that I purchased from Antiquated Notions, but you can kind of get a glimpse here. I have a color version if they want to use a sheet protector over this and copy, or they can make copies of black and white if they want. So whatever you choose as a mom. So I have my noun quick chart that was shared with me by my friend Renee Harris, and she's given me permission to use. And then here's where we get into the declining of nouns. So I really wanted to build the charts in such a way that they were very similar to the way the charts are built in the grammar book. So the first page of the section has the model noun along with just blank. You can use it with any noun. So down here I put that you could use a sheet protector and a wipe-off marker if you so choose, or you could copy the page. If you want your student to actually write all of this stuff out, then I have a chart for every single noun in lessons 1 through 15. Over here it'll tell you the lesson number and the page number, and then you can see the noun here. Here's Mary. I went ahead and marked out the plural on Mary because in this book, whenever we're referring to Mary, we're referring to the Mary, not all Marys. But anyway, so you can kind of see how this is built. So if there are nouns, like you can see Up there, again, Christ. We don't decline Christ in the plural, so I have that marked out. So as we get through all of the nouns, you can tell that there's lesson 14. I don't think there were any nouns in lesson 15. So when we get to adjectives, okay, here again is just a standard page here. You can put a sheet protector and just copy any adjective, or I have every single adjective. I have a chart for every single adjective where you would determine the declension, the meaning, and then you would decline in masculine, feminine, and neuter. Now, for my own son, who's going to be in my class this year, it might be overkill to do it for every single adjective. Maybe one adjective I do masculine, another one I do feminine, and another one I do neuter. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that. But again, here's the feast. You pick and choose. You don't be a slave to it. You just let it be an assistant for you. Anyway, so let's get through all the adjectives. Next is verbs. And I used color on this page, which I think is pretty important because you kind of see the little coding of the verbs here, whether it's a first conjugation or future tense or the personal pronoun markers and all of that stuff. I tried to set up the book so that if there's a chart to be copied, the filled in version is here, the one that we're going to copy is over here. Or you can use a sheet protector to write on it. There's the perfect system. And then here we get into first conjugation right off the bat. So there's the whole chart there, again, color coded. And here is the chart if you want to use a sheet protector. There's your perfect system. And then we get to each specific verb. Again, there's a chart for every single verb introduced. They have to write the principal parts, the meaning, the conjugation, determine if it's transitive or intransitive. You are given the lesson number and the page number, and then places to fill it in. These particular verbs, when we first learn, we only do the present tense, but as soon as the imperfect tense is introduced, then I have space for that as well. And you can tell when we get to future, you could do present, imperfect, and future. Again, it's probably overkill to do the entire chart every single day, but pick and choose what works for you. Again, I've got page number, lesson number right there. All right, so we get through the verbs, pages, 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 verbs. See, goes through lesson 15. I hope the video is not too bouncy. And then we have vocabulary. Just all the vocabulary is listed in this back section. The declensions are separated. Again, the filled in charts on the left, the blank chart that you would use a sheet protector for is on the right that they could use to copy, copy, copy. There's second declension, third declension, and so on. You have fourth and fifth along with some of the other nouns. Then we have adjectives. We have verbs. All the principal parts are listed unless they follow the model. And pronouns, first and second pronouns, and third pronouns. So hopefully it would be helpful to people. I'll show you my highlighting system. I use these highlighters. There are 10 of them. I print one of these out for each student. They paste it into the front of their book along with the coloring system. And then I show them kind of how to walk through the book. So I probably will send a very short little video in our community Facebook on how I've highlighted that particular section, and then they can go from there. So you can kind of see I've color coded the nouns by gender. I've highlighted all of the grammar rules with yellow. I have the headings for each new topic that we are learning, and I strongly encourage the parents to really try to help teach them the grammar, that's English grammar, that's going along with this. Anyway, So you can kind of see I've got my whole book highlighted, and this is challenge A. These kids don't know how to highlight already, so I'm modeling for them. If this was a challenge 2 class, I wouldn't go through all of this. They can, by then, have learned how to, a system that works for them. Anyway, so I hope this video is helpful to you, and let me know if you're interested in a copy of the workbook.